the chat box, and we can, the presenter can answer them after they're finished talking, because we don't want to interrupt that for and cause us to get off time. I'm going to manage the time. My little cheat sheet here. Everybody can see it. So if you get close to the end, I'll throw that up there. I will be putting notes out for the meeting, and attached to the notes will be a roster of the people that showed up, who attended. So we'll know how many we have, and we have got 36 already in the room. On the question and answers, that's right at the end. If you want to, have a verbal question, we'll ask the presenters to hang around for a few minutes after the programs ends at 10 o'clock, and maybe if there's another couple of conversations we want to have, but we have unlimited Zoom, so that's a good thing. And I'm happy to say how many people are here today. Okay, I'm going to turn this over to Mayor-elect Dan Biss. Again, Mayor Hagerty is going to join us sometime between 9:30 and 9:45. But Dan and I have spoken once about the program, so I'm going to turn it over to you, Dan, to get this thing kicked off.
Great. Well, thank you, Neil. Thanks for including me, and thanks for everyone for letting me crash this meeting this morning. My name is Daniel Biss. I will, as of May 10th, have the honor of being the mayor of Evanston. And I just wanted to say a couple very, very quick things. First of all, I had a chance to talk some with Neil as well as with Mayor Hagerty during the course of the campaign about the work that y'all have been doing. And it strikes me as really, really foundational to the city's needs and to the city's challenges. And so, I wanted to express my support and enthusiasm for the work that you're doing, my interest in learning about how I personally can be helpful and how I can ensure as mayor that the city government is participating in a way to maximize the efficacy of what you're doing. But I also wanted to say that, obviously none of us can predict anything anymore, but it does seem pretty clear to me that we're, as a result of what we hope will be the conclusion of the pandemic at some point during the course of the next year, we're about to be entering a period of very, very rapid and hard to anticipate economic transition. And that creates both, I think, a really important opportunity for Evanston's economy, broadly speaking, and for Evanston youth in particular, and also obligation for those of us who want to seize that opportunity to move quickly and to be nimble and to be ready to react to whatever the world throws at us. And so I think that just places an elevated level of value and importance on the work that you're doing, and an elevated level of challenge to make sure that we're doing it together in a way that takes hold of that opportunity, which will be there for a moment and then may not come back in a similar form for a while. So I'm just here to be a cheerleader and supporter and team member in this work, and to let you know that whatever I can do to help it be successful, and whatever the city government can do to help it be successful, we are here to do. And with that, I told Neil that I was going to have to duck out, but actually I was able to cancel my conflict. So if you don't mind, I'd love to stay on the meeting and listen and learn more about what you're doing.
We are happy to have you, for sure. Thank you, Dan. And I really look forward to working with you and the rest of the team here, because the city does play an important role with what we're doing. And you'll hear a little more about that in a couple minutes. Okay, I'm going to move on now then to ask Pete Bavis, who's sitting there looking dapper, and talk just a couple of minutes about ETHS's plan for the next couple of months, because, as we move back into the new normal, whatever the heck that is, the school is going to play a pretty big role. So Pete, I'll give you a couple minutes on that.
Thanks, Neil. If you guys haven't gotten a chance to watch the school board meeting on Monday, I encourage you. I'll drop the video link, the YouTube link in the chat. We gave an overview of our hybrid instructional model, which will kick off on April 15th, where we will start to bring students into the building to experience ETHS in-person instruction. We are using if you haven't been in ETHS, which I'm pretty sure most folks on this call, the vast majority have not been in here in about a year. It's transformed. We have up stairwells, down stairwells. We have signs all over the building reminding folks of all the mitigation efforts we're doing, social distancing, mask wearing. The place has really been transformed and will continue to be transformed. And with a hope of getting back to full capacity, providing we have appropriate vaccinations, continue to follow the guidelines. But we're looking to even open up more in the summer to have more in-person classes and experiences in the summer. And we are very hopeful. Of course, I can't commit to anything for the fall because I don't have a crystal ball, but I just would be tickled pink if we could get fully reopened in the fall. And that's looking more and more like a reality each and every day. So that's my update. It's a better, if you had asked me for this update in November, Neil, it wouldn't be as positive, but it's very positive today. Thank you. And thank you, Daniel, for joining us.
And for anybody that doesn't know Pete, he's actually the assistant superintendent for curriculum and instruction over at the high school. So he's, been one of our fans ever since we started this thing. Well, now I'm going to turn it over to Tana Francello. She's our, most of you know her. She's the career partnership manager. It's a feet on the street, keeps things rolling. And we're going to talk about some of the programs that are going on now at ETHS, whether it's virtual or at some point in person. So I'm going to turn it over to Tana.
Thanks, Neil. Good morning, everyone. It is really good to see you all. It's a nice group out there. Some of you I see a little bit more often than others. Just trying to build this work in the community this year. It's been really interesting doing it, pivoting to virtual, but we've managed to reach students even through the pandemic this past year, and have come up with some really awesome ways to communicate with our students in Evanston. So I wanted to talk about a little bit with Michelle speaking for us real quick about what's happening this month real quickly. We have the Career Options Night that we usually have in the community that is an on-site event, usually in the North Cafeteria. We have tables and speakers and things like that. Well, this year, Michelle and I are super gutsy, and we decided to do this event virtually. So I'll have Michelle talk a little bit about what this event is going to look like this year, and then we'll move into some of the other programs and highlight what we're working on into our next speaker.
All right, thanks, Tana. So good morning, everybody. Let me reintroduce myself for some of you that do not know me. I'm Michelle Vasquez. I'm the ETHS post-secondary counselor in College and Career Services. This is my 14th year at ETHS, and I have the privilege of supporting our students with their path after high school, whatever that path might be. And I work very closely with Tana and Neil and so many other people on this call to provide these opportunities for our students and to kind of show them what's out there, right? And so like Tana was saying, we've had to pivot all of our career programming, and this is what we did. And let me just try to explain it to you, and feel free to follow along. I did put in the chat our student Google site, and you can take a look at that. You can also scan the QR code that is on your screen in front of you with your phone to get to that same Google site that has our event that's on March 17th. We are going to be live on YouTube. So Lord help us, we are going to be live on YouTube on March 17th at 6 p.m. We'll be highlighting a few of our business partners that do offer what we call the iKit internship opportunity. So there's some already selected iKit partners that will be presenting briefly at 6 p.m. about their specific opportunities. But then at 7 p.m., we all pivot to Zoom into breakout rooms, kind of like our traditional fair. So each breakout room, think of it as your table, right? A table at a fair. And the idea is that parents, students, curious people will come to the Zoom Career Pathway Fair and browse from breakout room to breakout room, right, table to table, to hear and learn about these opportunities that our business partners have for the young people of Evanston. If you are a business partner that hasn't been contacted yet about having a Zoom breakout room, and you would like to have a Zoom breakout room at that 7 o'clock time on March 17th, and you have an opportunity for a young person at your place of business, we want to have you. Just let us know. Just contact Tana, contact Neil, and we will make sure to have a breakout room for you so our students and parents and educators and community people can listen and learn to you and what your business has to offer. Cool. So then if you were to take a look at the Google site, as you browse through it, you're going to see one of the pages is all about our business partners. And you may or may not see your business partner logo. If you don't see your logo, it's because we're still working on the site, right? So be patient with us. We're working on it. But if you want to send us a reminder like, hey, where's my logo? I'm a MEAC partner, please let us know. We will make sure that we have you on our site so then the public, our students know who we connect with, who are those business partners in the community that that are working with our ETHS youth.
Awesome.
Tana, did I miss anything?
No, that sounds fantastic. Thanks,
Is that
Michelle.
good? Okay.
Yes,
I think
yes,
I could
yes.
hear you. I don't know if it's
Yes,
just you're on
yes.
mute, but all right. So if anyone has any questions, just let us know. But yeah, March 17th, 6 p.m. live Zoom. 7 p.m. is the virtual career pathway fair via Zoom. And we hope to have you there, whether you're just watching or you're participating. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Michelle. So what's new? What's been happening this past year with us? We've been in a new format.
Tana, I think you're talking, but
can you not hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Dan can hear me. Michelle, you can't hear
Yes.
me. Okay,
Yes.
great. Hi, Sharon. Thank you so much.
Hi, Tana.
So I can hear. They can hear me, Michelle. New format this year was virtual career info panel session. So I took the work that we were doing in the building last school year before the pre-pandemic and brought it virtually, which I actually really enjoyed and liked because we were able to record these sessions so students and families could see them after the event itself. And so that has been really rewarding. So a couple of new things this year that we did with the virtual career info sessions is one, invited Oakton Community College. So they've been really awesome this year with us in partnering and creating department certifications and credentials for students and presenting those in the career panels. So it's been really nice seeing the continuum for students from the opportunity with the employer, and then Oakton kind of closed with, here's kind of the departments that we have that support this career pathway that you're learning about today. It was really great. We love that they were there and they really added a nice texture to our career sessions this year. And I think what was great about it is because they were virtual, we were able to get department chairs from a lot of the departments. So I thank Mark Batista and his team for pulling that off with us and really going with us with that this school year. It's been really fun having them. Some of the highlights of the year thus far, we have one more panel left. We were able to do 7, which is all 7, which are state aligned. So I'm really thankful to Michelle and the high school for allowing that. We started off the year in October with a manufacturing, engineering and trade virtual career panel. We had 71 participants. And as you can see, we just continue to have a variety of participant counts come to different sessions depending on the career pathway. Looks like information and technology, we had a really good turnout for that one. Seems like it's a popular. So what I'm learning is kind of like what industries seem to be really spark a lot of interest to the students. And so we'll be looking to do similar work to this next year. Let's talk a little about programs. So we've been building programs this past year as well. One of the programs this year we started building in the pandemic last summer was the iKid internship program. It's a co-funded internship program that thank you to YJC and the city of Evanston, we were able to create 15 opportunities for graduating seniors of class of 2020. And we're doing the same event this summer for the class of 2021. It's a 12-week internship. It starts in mid-June and runs through up to Labor Day. It's for graduates of ETHS, so you have to be a graduating senior to participate in it. We've added a rate of pay of $15 an hour this year, so we really upped our compensation package so we can make sure we get the right students for these opportunities. They work about 20 to 25 hours a week and have YJC career training. So they'll be really onboarded with Youth Job Center prior to starting their internship with career readiness training, showing up to work, workplace etiquette, things of that nature. They'll have the funding is again by YJC and the City of Evanston, and there's some wraparound services that will also be available for any of our graduates that need that, with financial literacy, counseling where needed, workplace training, any type of transportation, things of those natures are also included in their 12-week experience. And the goal really is for them to be able to go through their 12-week experience and hopefully, possibly, if it's available, have an opportunity extended to them for a full-time opportunity with the employer. So that's the goal. If it doesn't happen that way, we have next services that we can offer the students that may look different. Maybe they need more work experience or something like that. So we'll have that in place for them. So they'll always be cared for throughout their internship and referred. And then another really cool partnership we started is with We Evanston work ethic program with Lynn Weiss. We are so excited to partner with Lynn, and she'll talk a little bit real quickly about what we offers for internship opportunities, and how we see this for our students is that they're potentially in an internship with Lynn, and then they end up being great candidates for the IKIT internship opportunity as well. So Lynn, if you don't mind, if you could just talk a little bit real quickly about the WE program and kind of what you envision with our partnership with MEAC and WE, and how we're going to build these programs together.
Hello, everybody. Again, Lynn Weiss from the Evanston Work Ethic Program. So happy to be here. Thank you. And hello to the mayor-elect, Daniel Biss. I think you know our board chairman, Carl Lamel, real well. This is very exciting. I feel very lucky that this program, though quite young, began before the pandemic, so that we could begin our really close relationship with all the people at ETHS and with MEAC, and we're really appreciative of that because it allows us to do what we do. So this year, just recently in the last few months, we really tried to even build this partnership with MEAC more in order to enable our program piece, which is the summer internship between junior and senior year, to really look similar to, in certain ways, to IKIT and fall right before that for students between the summer, between their junior and senior year. So the students start with us at the beginning, at the middle of their junior year. They have to apply and be accepted. And if they're accepted to our program, they're with us for 18 months. They receive a year and a half of career readiness workshops and soft skills training, a career match mentor, one-on-one coaching, a stipend at the end, and also this opportunity to have a real live work experience, just like these IKIT kids, that could lead them into a job in the community with one of the employers here today. So again, very similar, but it's 6 weeks. We're working them up to that experience, 20 hours a week. And we do, just like IKIT, all those wraparound services, including during the summer, to really support the kids in their experience and help it be something that they're learning from in real time. So we're really appreciative for the partnership and hope to continue to work on this together to have this for the youth in the community.
Thanks, Lynn. That was fantastic. So this is really exciting. We're actually working with North Shore as we speak to start to build opportunities for our healthcare or health and science students that are interested in that career path. So it's really exciting to see things kind of starting to come together with Lynn, the bigger partners in our community, our employers, with like North Shore and Amita, and kind of expanding it beyond that. So be in tune. We'll be in touch when we're ready to start building more with the partnerships around these 2 internship opportunities. So what's next? So we've already started planning next year, believe it or not. We are doing the same work we did this year, but it'll look a little different as far as who our speakers are maybe. We may change up some of the way we deliver the information next year. But the goal is that we'll still continue to have career info sessions each month for students at ETHS to learn about your business, your career path, and what you have to offer as far as opportunities for our students. So we have a 2021 and 2022 calendar. We are currently planning for them in person and virtually, so we don't really know yet what exactly we're going to do yet or how they'll roll out. We used to do them in the Little Theater for those of you that have participated with us in the past, which seemed to work pretty well. But with all the nuances and changes with COVID and those things, we're not really sure. But we do like doing them virtually because we can get a much better reach. So I think we'll probably start at least the beginning of the year that way. So just keep in touch. I'll keep in touch with you all as I continue to build this and look for our speaker panel participants. And I appreciate you in advance for participating. It's been really fun. I've learned a ton around Zoom. So yes, so great. Our next speaker is Heather.
Before we do that, hang on just a second. Just very quickly, Shelley Gates is on the agenda, but unfortunately, the good news, Shelley got her second shot yesterday. The bad news, Shelley's not feeling so hot, so she's not going to join us today. But we are going to have Heather. But I want to make one other comment. We did mention that we had 15 places for ETH graduates. We actually have 22 because we have one company that has put in their budget 5 internships.
Yes.
And that's Comfort Lighting. And we have 2 more paid internships through the Citizens for Greener Evanston. So we will be actually adding those to the program, you know, and as we recruit for the iKit program, these are new opportunities. There may be some others that show up, you know, and I would look at some of the employers here and say, hey, if you wanted to fund an intern, I know we'd be happy to look at it. And, you know, because I expect we're going to have a lot more than 15 applications for these internships. So at any rate, I'm going to move on now. And I see Heather sitting, waiting here for us. I'm going to introduce Heather a little bit. We are part of the 60 by 25 network across the state. And Evanston is now a leadership community in that group. That is actually a network. It's not a state organization, you know, with all kinds of crazy bureaucratic stuff. But anyway, we have been connected, and 60 by 25 network is a group that gives us best practice ideas, real world solutions and whatnot around the state. And Heather has been talking with us a lot over the last couple of years as we grow our set of tools to help, you know, young people move into a career after high school. Another important part of this is that a lot of the work is done at the school levels. And I think she's going to talk to you today about work-based learning, which is really what we're doing here in a big way. And then at the end of her conversation, we're going to have Terrence Little come in from District 65 to talk a little bit about what they're doing on the career pathways. So Heather, are you there?
I'm here.
There you go. You can introduce yourself a little more.
All right, wonderful. Thanks, Neil. Thanks, Tana, for having me here today and for you all. I'm Heather Penzak. I'm a policy and program manager with Education Systems Center. We're out of Northern Illinois University, but we are really our own kind of entity there, part of their division of outreach. And in terms of the 60 by 25 network, we're one of the facilitators of that, the network organizers. That's also with Advance Illinois and with the Illinois Student Assistance Commission. So a lot of folks behind this network supporting communities across the state. And I'll go through that in just a moment, but some background about why I'm here and why I very much live in this work-based learning space. I started my career as a high school science teacher, and I taught out of the Northwest suburbs, and then I taught here at an alternative school called Pathways in Education in the city. So I've kind of seen some different spaces of what it looks like to be a teacher and to support students in college and career pathways. And then my most recent experience right before this was actually working with an organization called Urban Alliance. Some of y'all may be familiar with them. They serve students throughout Chicago, mostly Chicago public school students. I think they did try to figure out a partnership with Evanston at some point, but it's a whole other thing there. But managed that program, was a coordinator for that program, worked closely with students and employers for high school seniors to do 10-month-long internships. So I've been in the weeds in a lot of different spaces, talked with a lot of different stakeholders, and now kind of work on this statewide and community level. And so to Neil's point, right, definitely chatting with Neil and Tana frequently about what's going on in other models, and also highlighting what's going on here to other communities across the state as well. Because as you all heard, there's a lot of really great things happening. So we can move to the next slide here, and just a really brief again. So that was me, and then here's Ed System. So we, we're very much a part of the Post-Secondary and Workforce Readiness Act, which I think some of you all might be very familiar with. Some of you are still kind of unpacking and kind of hearing it in different pieces throughout your conversations. But and now it's getting that implemented. So that was passed in 2016. There's lots of different components to that, and as you all are probably familiar with, it's one thing to have policy, it's another thing to see it play out in communities. And so while we very much work with our state agency partners, and we facilitate a lot of conversations, we provide some expertise and guidance, we help craft legislation that's getting passed. We also know that the most important part is working with communities and making sure that anything that's happening that's going to come down as a legislation, as a policy, as a rule, right, is something that should be speaking to the needs of communities and making sure that it's not adding more layers of that bureaucracy word we heard earlier, although sometimes it does, right? But that it really is meeting that need. And so hearing from communities and then making sure we're advocating for that in the spaces we hold at the state level. And we focus kind of on these three bucket areas. So college and career pathways, which you all are very much heavily involved in, but even, hearing too about the partnership with Oakton, showing up to these career info sessions, like that really is supporting your bridges to post-secondary too. It's one thing to have an idea of what you want to do in life. It's another thing to actually know how to get there. But in that space, we focus a lot on transitional instruction, which some of you may be familiar with, some others not as much. But that's making sure that students are really ready for college level coursework in math and English. So the state has set up frameworks. English was actually just adopted by the state, and we're in the process of kind of getting that implemented. But one of the key factors to a student being successful post-secondary is that they're not taking remedial coursework. If a student's going in and taking not for credit, developmental, remedial coursework, we see in the data that it severely impacts their ability to actually complete and get a degree. And then also very much in data, right? So again, you can collect data, but then what you do with data and how you analyze data, what data you're looking at, what data you're capturing, and how you're having those really critical conversations is another piece that we lead in. So that's just us. Give some credibility, maybe explanation about why I'm here speaking with you all today. We can keep moving here. Tana, please. So the College and Career Pathway Endorsement Framework, I think most of y'all have probably seen this, been presented this, chatted through this, but Tana and Michelle mentioned earlier those different info sessions that were focused in 7 areas. Those are aligned to these endorsements. So it's also really cool to see those info sessions being aligned to this. Language and definitions and alignment and all that is just so crucial to make sure everybody knows what's going on sometimes, right? I know as my teacher roles in here now too, it's like everybody's always got a new word or acronym, and it can be exhausting, but there's these 4 kind of main components of it. So if a student is getting an endorsement in manufacturing and health sciences, we know that they've completed an individualized plan. They really had a real conversation about what it is that they want to do and how they're going to get there. They've engaged in professional learning, which is like that work-based learning we'll talk about here. And there's key activities that they should do. They've also taken career-focused courses. So, core academics for sure, but also they've taken some early college credit, maybe some CTE courses, right? Where they're really, really understanding that career, but they've also engaged in it hands-on through professional learning. And then academic readiness, again, these are, students who are ready to go into college level English and math. And so just saying here, I think a big piece of the endorsement framework, and even a plug for you all to kind of think about in this space, is what is the currency? So if a student gets an endorsement on their high school transcript, we're seeing some like Golden Apple Foundation for endorsements in education. They're offering them to be finalists for their scholarship. We're seeing some universities say like you'll get acceptance, like I'm blanking on the word there, but you'll get like priority acceptance, right? You can even think about maybe for internships, apprenticeships, maybe they're guaranteed an interview with your team, right? Starting to build up that currency for endorsements will be really important as we move forward. I can keep moving here. And again, if you have questions, there's a lot to talk about, and I could probably sit here this whole time and talk with you all, but please feel free to throw those in the chat or stop me at any time. So talked about the 60 by 25 network. You all are very much a part of that network, and I'll put here in the chat too. I see Michelle had the site in there, and I'll put in your profile if you haven't looked at that yet. But in 2017, so again, you get the PWR, Post-Secondary Workforce Readiness Act is passed, right? And now it's like, all right, we got to start forming communities of practice and getting folks together to talk about what this looks like. And so in 2017, started to gather some communities who were going to strive towards building out their programs to offer those pathway endorsements. And so now we've connected to a network. We have 73 school districts representing 107 high schools, and they're seeking to implement these endorsement systems. So you can see we're all across the state here. And I think what's really cool is we see a mix: urban, suburban, rural, traditional schools, competency-based education, wall-to-wall kind of pathway districts. And so it's just a really great space to learn and share practices to further enhance your college and career pathway systems, whether you're fully going towards those endorsements, you're working towards there, right? Whatever stage you're in. We can, yep. And so we released an impact report, and so that's on the site there. I can also link it in there for you. But I mean, communities in this network have been really crucial for driving implementation of those state policies. But also, as you've heard today, like there's no one player in this. There's no one stakeholder. It's not on the responsibility of a single person or institution, right? Like I think having the mayoral support in this community is huge. Like we see that, you have city support and funding, and you can get these collaborations going. It's big. People always ask about how you make these things happen in a real way. And it is those relationships and it is those collaborations that make these things possible, because while one organization can do a lot of fabulous things, they can't do it all. And so it's just really great to see, again, all these stakeholders in this group. And so they do a lot with their leadership and governance structures too. As you bring all these stakeholders together, everyone's got different ideas about what it looks like to develop college and career pathways. And so it's coming to a structure within that to have those conversations and move forward together. We can go to the next. Yep. And so we just had a conference. Would encourage you all, if you attended or attend another year, we do it every single year. It was fully virtual this year. Kind of thinking to Tana's point too, next year, is it virtual? Is it in person? We'll probably do a hybrid. I think we found that with virtual, we had a lot more folks able to attend. People could bring their whole teams instead of one representative from a team. So we'll likely have a combination of that, but just put in here for you some of the different sessions, the recordings and presentations that were focused on work-based learning, and also linked to all recordings too in the agenda. But again, just a really great space for networks to share what they're up to, how they're doing it, very much leaning on the expertise of communities in this conference. And so now let's talk about work-based learning. Are there questions about the network at all before I go into that? So work-based learning, there's a bunch of resources, and I have them linked here at the end of the presentation. I'm also just going to put in a website, if you haven't seen it yet, for the Post-Secondary and Workforce Readiness Act. That's going to have a ton of this stuff I'm talking about. But so, the state, as part of this, defined a work-based learning continuum. It also defined definitions for each category along the continuum. And these are not meant to be, like mandate things, right, that make it harder to implement, but they are supposed to really identify the quality main components that should be happening as an individual is going along a continuum of work-based learning. So you can see at the bottom there, it looks like the graphic got a little on my PowerPoint, but sorry about that. But there is this increasing intensity of employer engagement. So again, when we think about our different stakeholders, and even like thinking about the program that Lynn was talking about with Evanston Work Ethic, right? It really starts with them building up, doing some career awareness, doing some development, but then really starts to get handed off and more involved with the employers engaging with those students. So career awareness, students are kind of passive. They're watching some videos, they're taking surveys, they're starting to do some reflecting, but they're just really starting to grapple with this. That's when they move into career exploration that they start to engage hands-on with employers. So those breakout rooms that you all are doing and those info sessions, if they can ever do job shadows or show up to sites or even do virtual ones. It's really making sure that they can now engage directly and ask questions. So they're not just watching a video. Recordings are great, right? But that's more that career awareness when they're still kind of figuring stuff out. Exploration is when they get to ask a question like, tell me how much money you make. Do you like your job? Like, are you happy at your job? Like, these are the things they want to know. You know, they can get a lot of technical information through videos, but they want to know if you like your job and if you like your team and what your path was and how you got there. One of my biggest things about career exploration is, you know, making sure students are exposed to an endorsement area, that they're exposed to all the different occupations within that area. They're exposed to a diverse representation, whether it's race, class, gender, also education pathways. What were the different pathways that those individuals took to get to the same job? It's really important for students to see that there's not just one pathway to a job. Then you move into more intensive things like team-based challenges. These are very much project-based learning. So you're engaging, you're working on a real-world problem. Students are able to be creative and come up with solutions on how they might address that problem. The key piece here, again, that increasing intensities, they're getting real mentorship and guidance from those employers to actually say, okay, actually you should think about this a little bit differently, or I like where you're going here. Here's a resource. Have you thought about this? But this is really student driven. They should be coming up with a solution. And then you move into your career development experiences, which are your internship type experience, where now a student is very much independent. They're doing things, you know, on their own, they're performing tasks, right? And then moving into something more robust, like a pre-apprenticeship, youth apprenticeship, or apprenticeship program. And on the next slide, I just put the definitions here for you all. I kind of chatted through them a bit, but again, they're really meant to say like lots of experiences can be career explorations. Lots of experiences can be career development experiences. But are they meeting kind of these parameters for quality in that experience? And that's really what the driver is here for these definitions. And so there's a lot of resources too to help communities and help you all as you're thinking about these things. You know, I wrote the Career Development Experience Toolkit in collaboration with our State Board of Education and Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity to really guide communities through like just getting started to wrapping up the experience. Got a whole bunch of, you know, customizable templates and guidance and community models in there. The Career Pathways Dictionary, as I talked about, has those different definitions and just talks about how the state talks about career pathways. And the next one too, there should be our competencies. So we also have, like you were all talking about some different trainings that you're doing. There's recommended essential employability competencies and also technical competencies for those different endorsement areas. And again, they're meant to be explicit, but also broad enough to encompass like a lot of different scenarios, a lot of different experiences and courses, but were developed by a diverse group of stakeholders from all the different, you know, places that are involved in this, employers, educators, community-based organizations, to say, okay, what do students really need to understand to be prepared for that pathway? And so kind of just going a discussion here on work-based learning. So, you know, there's some state frameworks and background on that. As we, you know, really had to shift this past year, it's been a really tough year. And people were trying to be like, okay, we had all these in-person work-based learning that we did, and now we're virtual. Like, what is virtual work-based learning? What does it look like? Like, what am I supposed to be doing? And so we really started to have conversations about like, essentially when you're engaging an individual, engaging a student in work-based learning, what are the essential elements and outcomes? And a big one, as I'm sure you all know, as you think about the different experiences and different jobs and different internships you might have had, is being exposed to new environments and new expectations is a huge way to really support growth, right? Students get pretty used to school. They start to figure out school a bit, right? Whether they might still struggle in it and have some challenges. They're kind of used to what school looks like, you know, and then they go to an employer. And it's a new environment, and that employer has different expectations. You know, employers weren't trained necessarily in youth development, right? And so, so they have those expectations and different ways of communicating with students, and which is important. And they're really key for building social capital. So I have an image here and would encourage you all to read this policy brief. kind of about what equity means in work-based learning. And you can move to the next slide. I know just a moment here. There's a lot of research just showing how key social capital and social networks are for students, right? Students, and they can talk to their counselors, they can talk to their teachers, they can talk to their family, but it's really talking to people who are currently in those industries that helps them navigate that environment that might typically be inaccessible to them. We also see in research too that even when low income students of color have all the qualifications to go to college, a large number of them don't even apply. They don't even know how to even begin this, right? Because they don't have that information, guidance, access to resources. And that's a huge role that employers and industries can play, right? They're not going to give them all the answers, but they can definitely provide guidance. And then just kind of wrapping up here, we do have some cool things happening in this virtual space where Practera is customizing a virtual internship model for Illinois to meet those essential competencies, to go through modules and do like a social media project that's applicable across all industries. So, something if you're interested in and interested in partnering with the high school in the area, would definitely love to connect with you about that. But it's free access through next school year. So if it's a way that you want to build your virtual work-based learning muscle, it's a very cool thing. And we have an info session coming up about it too. And then, oh yeah, just kind of showing some quick feedback loops here for you all as the supervisor. If you just kind of click through, I think a couple of times, just shows you that, students would submit work to you, you would give some feedback on it, it would go back to the student. And it's a cool thing because it's a good transition for students to go from like never having done an internship to doing a pretty like self-guided internship, but they're also having to perform and get feedback on to really prepare them then to go in person and have tasks that are changing every day. This is very much project-based. I think the last thing I have is just about our work-based learning innovation network. This is, very much focused on work-based learning. Would encourage you all to attend and join for conversations. I know I'm like probably totally over time or.
Hey, well, that's all right. We with Shelley not being there, we had a little bit extra space. So thank you so very much, Heather. That was a lot of information. There's a lot more going on behind the scenes. Well, I'm going to turn this now over to Terrence Little. He's from District 65. He joined District 65 about a week before the pandemic, something like that. Well, so he's been drinking from a different fire hose. So Terrence, I'm going to let you
okay, how's everybody doing today?
Hey, we're just hanging in there.
Yeah, it's exciting news. So actually I started in August, so it was a little bit like during the pandemic. But like I say, it's not much right now with our career planning, but what I will say is we're in our beginning stages. I actually, if I sound like I'm a little lethargic, I took my shot yesterday and it's kicking in right now. And so I took the second, it's just doing something to me. So I took the second shot, it's doing a little something to me, but we actually we got good news from the governor yesterday. I would say that we've been in school for roughly a month. We got good news from the governor where they're relaxing from 6 feet and now going down to 3 feet. So we're able to add more students. We're actually planning right now with our unions to negotiate us moving from students from 6 feet away to 3 feet away. So, we got to go into negotiations. We'll bring in more students. But back to our career planning. So I can tell you what we're trying to do next year and this year right now. Yesterday was our beginning of what we call compression planning. Compression is just a format of how to plan. We had all stakeholders. We had some from the MEAC, from the ETHS, from the city. We tried to bring in all stakeholders to help us out with this planning because the goal is for us to start career classes in the middle schools in 6th grade. And if you kind of want to know what it looks like, my vision is, but of course it'll be the vision of all stakeholders, but my vision is pretty much taking what ETS does freshman year and breaking it and unpacking it over a 3-year span, which will be 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. So that way, when they walk into freshman year, they have already pretty much done what ETS is accustomed to having the students complete by the end of freshman year. So ETS will be starting with their students freshman year, what they know, they will be starting with sophomore year information, what they usually do. they will be starting freshman year with sophomore year information. So once again, just to say it a little smoother, like I say, if I'm stuttering and stuff, I'm sorry. I got the shakes and everything. I don't know what is going on. But what we want to do is take ETS's freshman year. And once again, this is my vision. This is not exactly what the panel may come up with, but this is how we're starting, and we're going to unpack it and break it down from there. We want to take what ETS does freshman year, unpack it, spread it out over 3 years, and that way we're doing it 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. So once again, when the students become freshmen at ETS, they already have an idea. What we didn't want to do is have like programs that are not done at the high school, because we didn't want kids to start some and then not see it again. We want to see it triangulate all the way through, and we want to see them matriculate, and we want to be able to copy that data. We want to see how successful our students were after being in a program for roughly 7 to 8 years. I rolled out something similar as a chief academic officer in Gary, Indiana, where we started our career. When I got there, traditionally, our career programs were just for high school students, and we rolled it back into freshman year, into 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. What we totally understood was, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with career programs in high school, but by junior, senior year, in order for them to get certified, they have to do a lot of hours. There's a ton of hours they must complete, because it's like any other program, they're getting official certifications. So what we want to do was put all the learning aspect on the front end, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. So by junior year, they know their terminology, they know their definitions, they know everything as far as the academic part of it. And now they have 2 years in order to get those hours in. Because trust me, it's a lot of hours to try to shove in while you're still trying to teach kids. So we wanted to just, like say, push that learning back to 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. So that way, when it was time for them to get their hours, because as we know, kids, things happen. They get sick, their parents get sick, a lot of things happen, and they start not obtaining these hours. And what happens is they end up not getting the certification, not because they don't know how to do the work, is because they didn't have enough hours and they didn't complete them. And once they graduate high school, now it's hard to get your hands on them in order for them to complete the hours. So that's one of my visions, because of the fact my goal is to ensure that ETHS has the time to ensure that our students are completing their hours. So we want to do it on the front end. And we also wanted to partner with the high school, so that way we can know exactly what standards and what they want the kids to know before they walk in freshman year. So that's what we are. And like I say, yesterday was the first day of planning, compression planning. I think it went very well. And another thing we want to add by next school year, and just to let you know, we want to add these classes by next school year. So we do have a big push to add it by next school year. We also want to add career counselors. Right now, our middle schools do not have counselors. I've never seen that before. I've been in 4 states and 6 districts, never seen middle schools without counselors. So that is something that we're also looking to include by next school year. So that's it for me. Like I say, short now. Hopefully the next meeting I have a lot for you, because we should at least be halfway through our compression planning, and I can be able to come and start giving y'all some results of compression.
Well, thank you so very much. This is such exciting news to be able to look at this. This is a continuum rather than just, spot here, spot there. So I appreciate it very much. I'm going to turn it now over to Steve Haggerty. Mayor Haggerty did join us. He's here somewhere. Anyway, Steve, if you're here.
I'm here, Neil. Can you hear me? Who knew a year ago that this would be our new world that we live in? But like Terrence just said, the shots are getting out there. I know not quite fast enough for all of us, as people are really anxious, which is a good sign that people want to be vaccinated. So I am cautiously optimistic that come next school year, so next August, September, we're going to start to look a lot more like normal. Even though I think normal is going to be new, we're not sure exactly what that's going to look like. we'll actually be able to possibly meet in person, which will be nice. I'm sorry that I was a little late today. Every Wednesday is the Emergency Operations Center Day with the City of Evanston, where we focus on the number one priority right now, which is the pandemic, and it's our whole of community response and recovery efforts. It's not going to end when I wrap up on May 10th. I am pleased that Mayor-elect Biss was with you this morning, and I know he spoke, and Daniel and I have spoken about this before, and he remains a big supporter of what we're doing. I just wanted to take a minute and thank everybody for all of your efforts. I am so proud of this entire group. If you think about it, 5 years ago when I ran for office, I talked about the importance of workforce development and particularly the importance of, working as a community to support those young people in our community who aren't necessarily going to go off to college. And we knew that, of the ETHS graduates, one of the best high schools in America, 20% of those kids aren't going to go on to college. Of those that do, only about 50% or so are going to matriculate with a degree after a certain period of time. That leaves a lot of young people who I feel strongly that we need to help. Neil Gambo, who worked on my campaign, this was something that was close and personal to him. And here we are, 5 years later from the campaign to where we are today. And you've really started something that I think is quite effective here, not only with the Mayor's Employer Advisory Council, but that we were able to put money towards this and hire Tana. And I know Tana's with us. I see you smiling right there. And really put a focus on helping young people get certifications, get internships that Heather just talked about, and the value of work-based learning. All of us can think back to, our youth and growing up and how valuable those experiences were. And so it's just I think it's while it's been a challenging year, I think this effort is really exciting. I think that you're going to see the economy really pick up steam the second half of this year and in 2022. There's a lot of stimulus, a lot. I mean, this bill's about to be signed, almost $2 trillion more. Going in, economists would tell you they're a little scared, like maybe it hums along too fast, but we'll set that issue aside and we'll let, economists and others and federal bankers and Federal Reserve figure that out. But what it means is there's going to be a lot of job opportunities. And that is really good for this population that we're talking about and that we're trying to help and your group's trying to help. And so I think we're really moving into an exciting period of time with this stimulus bill. There is going to be a lot of aid that comes down to state and local governments all over. That includes Evanston, that includes the state of Illinois. I'm talking to, to Daniel and to others and our city manager. And this is really as difficult a period of time as we've been through, and as challenging it as it is for so many families and so many of our businesses. This is really a once in an opportunity to invest in our community with a significant amount of money that's going to be coming down the pipe. And the economy and getting our economy back up and running, I think Evanston is well positioned to actually get its economy up and running faster than some other communities. Remember, all communities have lost jobs. All communities have lost businesses. We've obviously had two big losses with the movie theater recently and the Hilton Orrington. They employ a lot of people. They offer good careers, particularly the hotel. that we've put students into, through this program, and they have interest in hotel management where you don't necessarily need to have a college degree. And so, I think we're going to recover faster than some communities. And I think this group, the MEAC, is going to be more important than ever over the next couple of years as we try to rebuild our economy here. So I want to just thank everybody. Again, it's one of there's many things that I'm proud of over the last 4 years, but this is up there at the top of the list. I'm very, very proud. And I just want to do a quick shout out to Neil Gambo, because Neil's leadership on this has been essential to making it what it is. And, and to Pete Davis at the high school, who has really jumped in with both feet and said this is something that we're behind, and now they're helping fund this. And to all of those employers that are part of this, that again need good folks to come and work for your businesses, especially as I think you're going to start to see them really pick up steam in the next year or two. We're all going to need to keep investing in workforce development and helping our young people get on a path that provides them with a good, productive, career to support them and to support their family. So thank you, everyone. I wish I could be there in person, and maybe when we can get back in person, Neil will invite me back, and I can come in person. Thank everybody.
For sure, Steve, and thank you so much for your undying support of this thing throughout this whole thing. And without, a little bit of push from the mayor, that's what really got this thing rolling. But anyway, and then thank you everybody else for being part of this thing. I want to remind everybody, it's a process. This is not a silver bullet. So we're just going to keep working at it and keep going from there. This session is being recorded, has been recorded. So all your smiling faces, I think, are in there somewhere. But anyway, if anybody wants to see any of it, I'm sure we'll post up the link sometime in the next couple of days when I put the notes out and the attendance list. We'll hang around for a couple minutes. It's 9:59. I always promise people at 10 o'clock you're done. So if you want to bow out now, that'd be great. But again, thank you very much. And and Tana, I think
we have a question we have a question in the chat from Patrick, if I could find it. It was about the climate. Let's see, it's a lot of stuff in the chat.
Yeah, we got a lot of chat. We recorded the chat, so we'll know what's in it.
Yes. Thank you all for being here. I was trying to find it. Okay, so strengths and weaknesses right now in the business community, and who needs help, and what industries are growing, and any businesses out there like a restaurant looking for a strong manager. So I guess I could just talk a little bit real quickly. It's been surprisingly, people are actually hiring and looking for support. I mean, the first time we started this iKid internship program, we picked the essential workers, people that were working already, that were still open, that had opportunities with COVID and practices and PPE in place. But we were able to find employers last summer. And this year, already I'm over the amount of employers with opportunities than I have students for the iKid internship. So I think I have about 27 or more internships, and I have funding for 15 students. So we've got the employer population is definitely stepping up, and I'm so grateful for that. They're creating the opportunities for our young people in their environments, from Evanston to even Porter, Skokie. So it's been really great seeing that happen. And now we need more kids. So that part I feel is good. I don't really know. I don't know, is Paul here? Is anybody here from the business world as far as that's kind of the stuff that I'm working on as far as with employers. Everyone has been great. Our business partners in culinary have done some different shifts and have made some changes and have added. I mean, Alan Moy, he's on here. He's grown his business since he reopened his restaurant at Vietnam Nam. So, and he is going to be one of our iKid internship employers this year. So he's growing. There's some growth in his business for sure. I don't know about everyone else, but I do know that, we're working with whoever is open and ready to start rebuilding their business, if they're really to open it back up, if they've been closed. And if they've been open, we've been working with them to help create capacity for our youth in the community. Hope that answers this question.
Okay, anybody else, anything? Thank you so much. This has been most enlightening. And if anybody has any more comments or thoughts or want to contact anybody that's been here, please reach out, or, we have emails of everybody and all that kind of stuff. It's been quite a program. And so anyway, with that, I guess if you guys can bail out, thank you for all being here, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Good seeing
Go
everyone.
Kids, go
Thanks,
Kids.
Heather. Yes, thanks, Heather, for being here.
Thanks all.
Yes.
Heather, that was terrific, Heather. I mean,
Yes.
that was just knock 'em dead.
Yes.
Anytime, let me know. I'm happy to come in.
Well, yeah, I hopefully we're fulfilling our role as a 60 by 25 leadership community.
I'm filling out your report card right now.
Right.
Yeah, I figured you might be. All right. Thanks a lot. I appreciate that. Don't give me an L. All right.
Great work.
Thanks. Hey, Jim. You're muted.
He is muted. Thank you all.
Hey, Neil.
How you doing, man?
I'm good.
Good. Thanks for
Hey,
coming
Jim.
here.
Hey, Tana.
Hi, what's up? We're due for some catch up.
I mean, everything's just going as it has been.
Yeah, no, I figured that.
I've been doing more with the music department. So we're working on another jazz band track right now. We're pretty close to finishing it.
Okay. Go
So
Jim.
it's
Jim's keeping it
interesting.
moving. Yeah.
It's 2 students at a time. So this has been a bit challenging because there's a lot of kids,
Yeah. No, yeah, that's so true.
But it's good. It's turning out
Good.
really good.
Good.
And I'm